Greetings, YouTube. You have warped your way back into the WGS Arcade. We're back with more boob Tenshi, and on the last episode, apparently Kyo and Kenji kind of had let's say they Frenched. And after that, Rose came to her senses. We're going to keep that secret away from Rose. Don't want her to know. Don't want her to take that knife and stab me right in the dick with it. But she has now been brought up to speed on what exactly is going on with Chronotech and this entire situation that they're in the future. So, this was the last line in the last episode, so let's go ahead and go on. These are just ridiculous. She reached back onto her backside and let out a cute eep. Okay, that is also definitely not okay. Are we stuck like this or something, Kyo?
I don't believe so, Rose. The most logical explanation is that we aren't back yet in our original time again, so our bodies aren't going to go back to normal yet.
But, you know what that means, don't you?
Kenji gets a lot more to stare at when he thinks we're not looking.
Hey! No. Well, yes, that. But more importantly, the longer we're here, the bigger we get. And the more likely we are to keep it.
Oh, yeah, that's bad, isn't it?
Yes, it's very bad, Kyo. I like to be able to fit into my clothes when we get back home, thank you very much.
I'm sure Kenji would love to argue with that, hee hee.
This only flustered Rose further. What's that supposed to mean, Q?
I'm giving you a hard time, that's what it means, silly.
She stuck out her tongue and wandered in the dark room.
I wonder why they keep it so dark in here anyways.
To save power, of course. The muted voice of Mizuki caused all three of us to turn our heads. She stood at the center and had somehow snaked her way into the room unheard, wearing her casual attire. Electricity isn't as plentiful as it is in your time. We save as much of it as we can so we can power the time window. We're very sparing with our jumps, and luckily we get a bit of help. You did this to us. Did I? I may have brought you back here, but who sent you in the first place?
Well, Michele did, but she only did it because we asked.
You're both naive than I gave you credit for. You honestly haven't pieced it together yet? We're talking in riddles. What do you plan on doing with us? With Kenji? Something that we've been playing ever since you met him. Possibly before that, if time is seen the way I see it. How you see it? What is that supposed to mean? Should I really speak about this now, Rose? Are you actually concerned about my theories on life and time? I can't do much else right now, other than hear you blather about nonsense, so be my guest. And I appreciate the vote of confidence, Your Highness. She crossed her arms, obviously getting impatient with Rose's attitude.
Look, we really don't want any trouble. Please, just let us go. We know what you were trying to do, and I can't say that I view you as bad people anymore.
The fact that you did in the first place is already enough to irk me.
Look, we didn't know. Messing with time itself shouldn't really be something that we do.
And why is that? The idea of time travel was apparently invented eons ago, and you shared it with no one. So it lay dead in this basement for hundreds of years until Bunni and I dug it from its grave. Instead of making a difference and changing the world for the better, you and Tensei all sat on your hands and let everything pass you by. And look at what it did for us. Are you saying that this is all our fault? Purposefully? No. There was no way you could know that these things would end up this way. But your cowardice was the problem. You're calling us cowards for not wanting to tamper with the laws of time and space? Excuse us for not wanting to tear reality apart. And that is where the problem lies. You all think time is it's like some fragile china plate spinning on a stick, no destination. And if it were ever nudged, it would all come crashing down. What you need to understand is our theory, that time is a river, and it will continue down its own path despite our actions. But we can change the stream we follow into. Bunny and I, we just want to escape from this reality. We know there truly isn't anything that can be done about this timeline. But if we can see a different one, and live within it, then that is what we shall do.
But you haven't confirmed whether your theory is correct either, have you?
No, but that will change very, very soon. The three of us looked up to hear a very familiar voice. Through the shadows, a curvy figure walked out towards us. That was then we realized who it was. No way. And I know who it is. I got money. That it's Michele.
It can't be.
And I was right. And holy shit, what an outfit. Michele? Congratulations, girls. You finally pieced it together. Why you didn't do it earlier is beyond my comprehension.
But you were back with Tenshi, who's operating the time window.
I am. I always am. I was operating it for Bunni and Mizuki as well.
The whole time?
Well, admittedly, no. It all started a few weeks ago when I received the distress beacon through the Time Windows interface. I decoded it and discovered it was to be coming from an unknown period in time in the distant future. After a while, we communicated back and forth, and I sent the messages on how to repair the Time Window.
But Michele, how are you sure that it wasn't some sort of trap from the government?
I know how to read the machine that I built, Kyo. I knew that this was the very same distress beacon which I had integrated into its system, just in case something fell apart and we got trapped or lost in a time we couldn't escape from. When I realized the distress beacon was coming from the future, I knew there was something wrong. The fact that they had to rebuild it means, well, I don't know yet. This is complete and utter ridiculousness. Michele, you knew the whole time about these guys' plan? Why didn't you tell us? I told Tenshi. I told him as soon as I discovered what was going on. He was furious with me. He thought I had just revealed his life's work to a bunch of no-good hackers. I tried to explain it to him, but for some reason he couldn't wrap his brilliant mind around the idea of people other than him having control over time. At that moment, I thought he was controlling, insane, even arrogant. But I think he was just afraid. I know he kept his invention out of the government's hands so they wouldn't abuse the power of the time window, so the idea that others had their hands on it, that struck more fear than hope within him. He thought it would become a trend that people would come back and try to take away his work. He was foolish, but I understood his reasons. It doesn't make him any less of an idiot, however. Don't you dare talk about my grandfather that way. Michele hesitated for a moment, stepping towards me slowly with an accusing eye. Kenji, do you actually know what kind of person your grandfather is? How much time have you spent with him since he brought you to the lab? 10 minutes? 15? You've been around the other girls more than you've ever been around him. And that was the main reason he brought you here, to help you feel as if you belong, despite how alien your surroundings were. But... I'm sorry I couldn't tell you anything sooner, Kenji, but I'm afraid it wasn't part of the plan. What plan, Michele? What are you trying to use Kenji for? And why Kenji? It's complicated, but I'll do my best to explain. I suppose I should start from the beginning. Come now, to the old entertainment center. More breathing room in there. She gestured to us, and we all willingly followed, still reeling from the revelation. Now that I thought about it, it was actually quite obvious. The muttering, her being the main one to control everything about the time window, it all made sense, really. But still, the fact that she was working for both sides, whose side did she favor more anyway? The entertainment room had seen better days, but there was still enough room for us to all sit. It was nice that we were being treated more like guests than captives, but it was still a rather off-putting atmosphere. Michele waited a moment before beginning her explanation. So after I told Gramps about Mizuki and Bunni, and after he flipped his lid about it, he kept a close eye on the machine from then on out. He wanted to track the hackers at all costs, putting most of his time and effort into keeping his machine away from prying eyes. It seemed like he upped security every day and he got very paranoid. He mellowed out just a bit after, but I could tell he still had his eye on me. I had to sneak into his lab late at night and relay all sorts of information to the other end. I still had no idea who was communicating with me, but I knew they needed help. Their messages came in scrambled and rushed, but as the time window was gradually fixed, I was able to communicate with them more clearly.
Thank goodness, too. We were in desperate need of instruction. We were about to give up, too, until we got your messages.
Bunny, when did you arrive?
I was just hanging out in the entertainment center waiting for all of you to get here.
Well, then, anyways, we are going to call it an episode, and when we come back to the arcade, we're going to get more of this story from Michele. And again, it's not really it's not really a startling revelation to me, because it was sometimes you can kind of see something happening. And the fact that Michele was really the only one that would operate the time window alone, it kind of makes sense that it would be her. But anyway, guys and gals, we're going to get more of this story when we come back to the arcade. So with that being said, I am your friendly neighborhood Wrestlegamer, and I will see you at the next Warp Zone. Bye, guys! Damn. I'm awake.